Number 27 out of 30. Become bar. We're going through 30 things that you should consider. Probably not on a daily basis, because it's a lot, but one a day every month you can do. February you'll have to double up. But one a day every month, 30 things that is worth considering in your life. Now, many people don't consider anything. They're just going through the motions. I've got to get up now, and I've got to go to work now, and I've got to have my relationships now, and my health now, and my programs now. Very few people just stop and take their head out of the sand and just be like, wow, let's stop. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? What do I believe in? What am I living for? What am I investing in? Are my actions congruent and in line with my goals? Am I doing what I need to do in order to be who I want to be? And by the way, I said be who I want to be rather than get what I want to get. Because most people, even if they are contemplating it, how do I get what I want to get? In fact, for the majority of people, most of their thought power is taken up on wanting things and then seeing how I can get them. 80% of what you think about is what I want and how I can get it. And then the rest, the 20%, is like what other people think of me. Maybe it's 50-50 actually. 50% of your life chasing your desires, 50% of your life worried what people think of you. Amazing. So Judaism says no. We have a meditation tool, it's called Hitbanenut. Hitbanenut means contemplation. Think about it. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? So one form of contemplation is just to contemplate your life, evaluate yourself. What are my values and am I living up to them? But another type of contemplation is to contemplate higher things. Because what's going on in your mind, that creates your reality. So if you contemplate all the wonders of nature and the wonders of your body, you'll create within yourself wonder and vitality. If you contemplate all the things you're grateful for in your life, that will arouse joy and happiness in your heart. So we want to not only contemplate where I want to go and how to get there, but also contemplate higher contemplations. Because we want to experience, how many people do you think are really experiencing the higher emotions? When I say higher emotions, I mean awe, love, joy, connection. Very few people, very little at a time. Maybe someone, they work hard and then they go to a meditation class, or they go to a breathwork workshop, and it's amazing, and they cry, and then they feel great. That's it. That's a nice little break. Judaism says spirituality isn't a hobby. It's not something that you fit into your schedule. Spirituality is a whole way of looking at life, looking at the world. Everything I'm doing is going towards one goal, and that is to manifest my divine potential in the world. And if it's not really doing that, then I'm not so interested in it. And by the way, sometimes that's hard, and it, you've got to work hard to pay the rent, but that can be divine as well. You are nobly providing for your family. And you say, well, I'd rather be sitting on top of the mountain, meditating. That's called spiritual. Judaism says, maybe, but not necessarily the highest level. Going to work every day and being a sweet, kind, loving colleague or boss, that's a very high spiritual level, to be able to deal with life. Now, when you separate from the world for spirituality, it's very, very peaceful and blissful and calming. It really is. But, of course it is. You don't have to pay the rent, and no one's annoying you. And there are no responsibilities. If you had no responsibilities, no social media, no bills to pay, you'd also be quite calm. After a while. It would take you a while, because first your mind would be going crazy. What am I doing? But then you'd settle your mind, And then you'd be like, it's okay, I'm just going to go and sweep the temple. And hear the birds. It's really good, actually. We should go and do that. It's really good. But Judaism says no. We've got to be active in the world. And if you are active in the world, you are going to face pain. You're going to face pain in your life. People die. This is why some traditions teach attachment causes suffering. Don't get attached. Don't get married. Don't have children. Don't have money. Don't get attached, because if you get attached to something, then suffering will arise because you'll lose it, or things you get attached to that you don't have, you'll crave things and you won't get them. Or even if you get them, then you get attached to them, so you're scared of losing them. By the way, attachment doesn't cause suffering. Attachment causes pain. And there's a big difference between pain and suffering. Pain is an unpleasant feeling, loss, grief, disappointment, betrayal. That's pain. Suffering is your mind narrating that pain in a negative way. It's my fault, it's their fault, it's her fault, I wish it wasn't like this, it will always be like this. So suffering is a mental process around the pain, and all it is doing is deepening the pain and perpetuating the pain. So attachment doesn't cause suffering, because suffering you can be in control of. You can choose how you relate to your pain. But yes, attachment does cause pain. So we're going to have pain in our life. But Judaism says we'll accept the pain in order to get the connection. I want to be connected to my wife and my children, and to my students and to my friends and to God. I want that. Yes, I understand that being deeply connected and loving may cause pain at some point, but that's okay. Because the purpose of life is connection. So maybe attachment causes suffering. Well, it doesn't. Attachment causes pain. But I'm okay with that. Because attachment is also the key to true enlightenment. The whole of Judaism is only about attachment. Attachment to your higher self. Attachment to God. That's why in the Buddhist path, for example, where they don't believe in the soul and they don't believe in God, then you're right, attachment causes suffering, because everything's anicca, everything's impermanent. So if everything's impermanent and you get attached, you're going to end up suffering. Judaism says, not everything's impermanent. Your soul is not impermanent and God is not impermanent. And therefore you can and should get attached to that. Your connection to your wife is not impermanent. Your connection to your children is not impermanent. Will it cause pain? Yeah, but that's okay. So you're going to get pain. We're going to have pain in life and we're okay with it. By the way, the whole of Judaism, the purpose of Judaism is called devekut. Devekut means clinging. It means to stick together. In modern Hebrew, the word for glue is devek. And a sticker is a madbeka. Devek. You want to stick yourself to Hashem. You want to attach. Attachment causes enlightenment. We have a new phrase. Some traditions say attachment causes suffering. We say attachment causes enlightenment. Attachment to the right thing. Mitzvah means connection. Tzavta. Lehit palel, the word for to pray, means to connect. Palel means to connect, to tie yourself, to bind yourself to something. We want to connect, but yes, connection will cause pain in life. So we're going to face pain in our life. The Chovot Halevavot says there are two reasons we get suffering in our life, pain in our life. Yachol shetitchayev bo al derech ha'enesh. Maybe there's something called mida keneged mida. Mida keneged mida means that your actions have consequences. So if you cause pain, because you are part of the bigger human soul, you then receive pain. People call it punishment. You're going to get punished. Maybe, that could be, but God doesn't just do punishment for punishment's sake. all punishment in Judaism is a corrective. It's corrective. It's to balance it out, to make you realize your mistake, to help you grow. So yes, there are consequences of doing the wrong thing. There are consequences. Nothing is a coincidence. How do you say coincidence in Hebrew? Mikre. Mikre. Mem kuf resh he. Coincidence. Those same letters, mem kuf resh he, coincidence, spell resh kuf mem he spells rak me Hashem. It's only from Hashem. There are no coincidences. Also spells kara me, happened from Hashem. It came from Hashem. Also spells rokem. Rokem means embroider. It's an embroidery. Why? Because we see life and we just see all these knots and this mess. We just don't know what's going on. It's so confusing and painful. But then what happens is you just turn it around. There's a beautiful picture. So our life is like an embroidery. This world, you see in the backside, the knots. The world to come, it turns around and says, I get why I had to go through all of that. It also spells kuf reish mem he, karma. What goes around comes around, baby. Everyone loves the karma one. It's like, oh, now it's interesting. Indian, no, I do. So midah k'midah, it comes around. So one reason you face suffering in your life is because you deserve it. In a negative way. You deserve it. You made a mistake, you got a patch. Sort yourself out. The second one though, and by the way, he then says, and this, once you got it, then you got forgiven. As soon as you have your pain, it's gone. You're forgiven. Or, this is the opposite. Shye atchala min ha'elokim lecha al derech ha'nisayon ha'mivchan yarbe b'zeh ha'bayres charcha v'yagdil gumulcha alav. Or you deserved it in the opposite way. The word deserve in English means two completely opposite things. Well, they mean the same thing but have opposite connotations. You deserved that. You deserved that. And you really deserved that. You know what? You really deserved that. You earned it. Or you deserved that. So it is you earned it, but the opposite things. So you're either facing pain in your life because you did something wrong, or because you did something right, and Hashem says, I'm going to push you. Through this challenge, through this trial, through this pain, you're going to grow as a human being, you're going to become great, and I'm going to reward you. This is why we can never judge other people. If you see someone going through pain, don't be like, yeah, I deserve that. Because it might be, he deserved that. You don't know. So never judge anyone. You have no idea. Maybe they're on the highest level. You see bad things happen to people, you say, yeah, they're on the lowest level. And maybe not. According to Jewish philosophy, it could be on the highest level. So pain in your life is actually a good thing. It's either cleaning the slate, paying off your debt, or it's pushing you to become great. This is why Avram Avinu became Avram Avinu, because Avram had 10 trials. Got thrown into the fire, and he did the Akedah. He had the 10 tests of Abraham. Why? Because he was evil? Opposite. Abraham had his test so that he could become the greatest man ever. Do you like Abraham? Yeah, great man. He was a great man. So, here's going to be your now test, and this is what you need to contemplate. How do you relate to your pain? How do you relate to the pain that comes your way? Are you like, I don't deserve this? This is not fair? Are you a victim to your pain? Do you get upset with Hashem? By the way, in the moment, if you do get upset with Hashem, that's okay. Hashem likes that. Hashem gets it, because at least you're attributing it to Hashem. So you can say, that's not fair, Hashem. Why? And once you've stamped your little feet, then you can say, okay, I'm sorry, Hashem, I realized I needed that. But Hashem's okay with you being honest with your pain and shout. If you're going to be upset with anyone, it should be Hashem. So it's a healthy thing to get upset with Hashem. Don't start cursing Hashem and stuff. But you can express your anger to Hashem. He's okay with that. Avram Avinu himself did it. When Hashem says, I'm going to wipe out Sodom, Avram said, Chalila lecha. How dare you? He said, that would be a desecration of your name. Shouted at Hashem, what are you doing? Crazy? There might be some holy people in there. I haven't been a big. I like him very much.
What about people that never get over their pain, or at the extreme say commit suicide? Do they get too much of it? Was there a test that they...
So in general, Judaism teaches that you never get a test that you can't pass. Someone who commits suicide, very extreme case, it's not that they couldn't pass it, it's that they didn't pass it. Not that I can judge that, God forbid, I've never been in that position, but it just doesn't make rational sense. Why give someone a test they can't pass? Sometimes though, this is cool, sometimes Hashem gives you a test that you can't pass, because the real test is to see how you deal with failure. He gave you a test that you weren't going to pass it, but then are you going to be a victim to your failure, or are you going to say, okay, I failed, I'll try again? And that was the real test. The real test wasn't the thing. It was how you deal with failing the test. Unbelievable. But we can't judge which is which and when is when. Yeah?
How do we make sense of Eov or Job's tests?
To make him a great man. That was the whole lessons. We're going to have to learn that very deeply. They say that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote that book. 100%. Maybe we'll do that next. In-depth Eov. But that shows that I'm a great man. Now, what is the number one key judgment of your spiritual level? Cheshbon Adam im nasho kishetavo alav ra'a begufo u'b'mamono u'mamin yaminanav. If something bad happens to your body or to your money or in any way, yikabel hakol me'elokav b'simcha. How much you can accept that pain joyfully. That's a very, very high level. And that's a very high level. But before we say, he says b'simcha, before we say b'simcha, we said just to accept it. I accept it. I'm not fighting it. I'm not saying it's not fair. It's not fair. Is that true, by the way? It's not fair? God is infinite. God can't not be fair. God is fair. Life is fair. It's not fair. What's the word in the Torah for fair? Correct. There's no word in the Torah for fair. The concept of fair isn't a Jewish concept. In modern Hebrew, they say it's not fair. They say זה לא fair. C'est לא fair. Because we don't believe in not fair. Not only is it not fair, it's good for you. It's the fairest thing. The only not fair thing that happened was when my children kept saying to each other, that's not fair, all the time, not fair. My daughter was about 7, my son was 5. Not fair. And I said, right kids, that's it. The next person who says it's not fair, the other one's going to get a chocolate. And that really is not fair, buddy. So they were playing a game, and something happened, and Binyamin said, that's not fair. And I said, Binyamin, I got to give Tamara a chocolate. And he looked at me and said, that's not fair. I said, 2 chocolates. And then I stopped it at that point. I found it very amusing, but that actually wasn't fair because I'm not God, so I can do things that are not fair. But really, ultimately, that was also fair. So it says in Devarim, Tamim tiyeh Hashem Elokecha, you should be tam. You should be pure. And what does that mean in this sense? Rashi says that you should makabel, you should receive what happens. You should just receive. Now he says besimcha, which is a high level. I'm saying in pain as well, but receive it. You can feel your pain. You don't have to something bad happens and you're just dancing around. Yay, I needed that. Although if we really understood what was going on, you would celebrate all the pain you go through. If you really, really got it. But no, I'm not on that level. 1 in a billion people are on that level. And sometimes it's inappropriate. If someone dies, you sit shiva for 7 days. You're meant to feel your pain. You're not meant to be dancing around and saying, hooray! Even though we know it's for the best, pain is pain. You're meant to feel your pain. So there's sometimes when you're meant to feel your pain, sometimes when you feel your pain, sometimes when you can actually get on the level where you're celebrating your pain. Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva is being raked to death with metal hooks by the Romans, burning metal hooks. And Rabbi Akiva was like, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu. And they're like, Rebbe, are you okay? this much, this far? And he said, my whole life. When you say the Shema, you're meant to imagine I would die for Hashem. I'd die for Judaism. And every day for my whole life, when I said the Shema, I was like, I'd give up my life for Hashem. We spoke about this 2 days ago. Don't give up your life for Hashem. Live your life for Hashem. But I give up my life for Hashem. And he said, now I got the opportunity to do that. That's huge. He wasn't saying that. That's not fair. I'm Rabbi Akiva. Why should I be tortured to death? He was like, I'm just going to accept this. Radical acceptance. Radical acceptance. I'm just like, I accept. I accept. Very, very, very big level. Really, it's called emunah. Emunah is, this is good for me somehow. Even though I might not ever understand it until I go to the next world where the embroidery is turned around, then I'll understand it. But here, I don't understand my pain. How do you stop pain becoming suffering? Pain being an unpleasant feeling and suffering being a mental process, judging that feeling. You find the meaning in your pain. If you've got meaning in your pain, it's not suffering. Childbirth is meaningful, so childbirth is painful, but is not suffering. What happens when you can't find the meaning in your pain? You're Rabbi Akiva, and you're the biggest tzaddik ever. So what's the meaning of me being killed like this? Children die of cancer, terrible thing. So the answer is emunah, which is, I know there is meaning, I just don't know what it is. Because God is infinite and I'm finite, so I don't understand the whole system, but I know in the bigger picture somewhere, somehow, there is meaning to this. The worst question you can ask yourself often is, why? Why me? Because we don't understand. I don't know why me. Why are so many people dying in Gaza? I don't know why, but I know there is a reason. Emunah. So watch this. Ki ha'eser nisyonot shenisa hamakom et Avraham Avinu lo hayinu meshapchim lo amda behem lulei she'ha mekabel hakol me'elav beratzon u'tuv lavav. Those 10 tests of Abraham, our forefather, would not have been praiseworthy had he gone through them just resentfully. It was because he accepted them with a good heart. To the extent that you can accept your pain with a good, open heart and feel your pain, you can cry as well, by the way. That shows what level you're on. So this is our contemplation. This week's contemplation is, how do I relate to the pain in my life? Do I say, right, this means there's no God, or God hates me, or I'm bad, or it's someone else's fault? Am I just throwing blame around? Or am I receiving it and saying, okay, let me try and work out why I'm going through this pain. That's good. If you can do that, do that. Knowing that it's either because you deserve it or because you deserve it. Because you deserve it or you deserve it. And knowing that it's got to be good for you in some way. And I receive it. I accept it. Yeah?
Can't you go through pain and deserve it sometimes? Why? Like you did something wrong, but that happened for a reason, therefore you're going through that pain so you can become even better?
Yeah, even the difficult deserve it stuff is to help you grow, so it's
all deserve it.
Everything's deserve it. You needed that. You got that pain. Sometimes you don't get it because you deserved it in a bad way. It's because you needed it in order to push you to grow. So maybe there's a third. There's deserve, needed, deserve. You didn't deserve that, but Hashem gave you that test, even though you didn't deserve it, because you needed it to push yourself a bit further. Cheshbon Hanefesh, number 27. What's your perspective on that pain in your life? Are you a victim and saying it's not fair and getting upset with Hashem, or do you receive it on one of many levels? I receive it, but it's still painful, or I receive it joyfully. Is that Hashem?